Alright. Okay, I was going to get my libation list. Let's see if I can find this thing. As always, you know, us Negroes always got something that we leave it out. You know, but that's just the way it is. And I guess that's our challenge till we get off the planet, or transform the planet, as they say. But I guess I can do it by head. So I can't find it right now. I guess I'm going to have to just go ahead and knock this libation out by memory, you know. And it serves me right. See, I was supposed to Xerox some of those and sell them any damn way. And I said, and it slipped my mind, and if I would have Xeroxed them, I would have had them on hand to sell anyway. Hard head, big soft ass, so. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So now, for you people that haven't heard me before, you hear a little bit of curse words and all this type of thing. Remember, there's no such thing as curse words. And this is just a challenge to get black people to think, because we grow up a certain way. Now, how could a curse word be a curse word when the English language was not in existence, when all things sacred was laid down? See what I'm saying? So how can that be a curse word? You understand what I mean? To curse someone is to harm, is basically to mentally inflict something on a person with words of power, and basically you damn someone. That's the main curse word. You know what I'm saying? All the rest of the stuff is not curse words. So now, since we use this as the sacred holy language of the ghetto, it means we emphasize things better, because you don't get it, not unless you curse. So my mother, who was an English school teacher, used to curse us out as little children. And I said, well, why do you do that? She said, because it feels better. You have to put emphasis on it. And I often remember that one time we went to a meeting in 1989. And this is the psychosis of black people, not you. But too often, sometimes we go to a general meeting where you just have a whole bunch of dead people up in there mixed in with the consciousness. And as a result, it was in 1989, I remember this good. Khalid Muhammad stood up and read the King Alpha Plan. It was the first, the Rex 84 King Alpha Plan was the first time a lot of people was hearing about it, but they couldn't get it in public. It was the first time it was read in public in Atlanta. And he read that whole King Alpha Plan and went through that, but said goddamn a couple of times. And at the end, in his question and answer, some sister stood up and talking about you need to be consistent, you said goddamn. And I'm looking at the psychological aspect of, here's a man that just read the King Alpha Plan to you on how they're going to kill you, and the only thing you can register is he said goddamn. So this is a sick mentality, you know what I'm saying? And it's like I said, you know, with people, you know, I tell the people, you know, and I said this on some of the tapes, you know, like I said, you know, well, they're killing people in the projects, and they go, yeah, well, how your mama doing? In the project, you know, I said, you know, yeah, they're killing people, taking people out and all. Yeah, there was some nice shoes you got on. You see the mentality? This psychological stuff. So therefore, we need to get off all these little petty things about, you know, these little petty things. The last time I was here, somebody was complaining about when we need to be consistent because the writing on one of the flyers, a couple of words was spelled wrong. Who gives a damn? What kind of shit is this? You talk about warfare, you talk about some damn words being spelled wrong. You see what I'm saying? Meanwhile, the cracker laughing and all because he understands that you don't get it. You know what I'm saying? He put all these laws and all these boundaries for your ass, and he don't even follow them. You know what I'm saying? He kills who he wants to kill, eats who he wants to eat. You know what I'm saying? And does anything in the name of the law, you ain't got it yet. Lord God is not going to chastise him because he is in divine order for doing that shit. That's a part of the game. That's a part of the game. Well, God don't chastise. No, that's bullshit. You got to chastise him, and you the God that got to wake up. And as long as you don't wake up, the white man can do what the hell he want to do. It ain't got shit to do with the white man doing these things, and you thinking some divine retribution going to come, and you looking for divine retribution, and it's your ass. See what I'm saying? The book of Enoch said, I'm going to turn them over to the elect.
Right.
That's us. Right. The elect. Say, those are the ones that will do this. Not no doggone force in no sky. It's the force within you. Right. You see what I'm saying? And the white boy got this thing now. He understands that he can do what he wants. He can understand that he can lie to you. You know, we was talking about this now. All the politicians do this thing. And they had the black guy on bail. He was doing the same thing. Because I said, wait, Clinton does that too. So I said, look at all this psychological bull, you know. But this is the whole mind control of the whole United States. So we need to get all out of that. So we're going to pour some libations, you know, to get the spirit going. But it's already going because it's interesting when you go to places, that you haven't gone in a while, or places for the first time. I can tell the energy right offhand. And it's just like new faces and all. And it's almost like the spirit meets the ones that are enthusiastic about this type of stuff. You see, and it's very great. But it's interesting about the energy. I can go to Trenton, New Jersey. I can go to Newark, New Jersey. I can go to doggone Harlem, New York. And it's almost like I'm talking to the same group of people each time when it comes to the consciousness. So I'm never really away from Atlanta or never away from home. And I go to South Carolina and I go to all these places deep into Florida, and the people that come to the lectures is almost like I never left Atlanta. It's the same group of people. So that means we're talking about the same energy, and it also means that you agreed to come back and help your doggone people. And it's just taking us a long time to realize it, that it's us, because we're still thinking of God. And God only functions in you. God is only you, as I said before, because the other aspect of God is only potential. It's only energy. But that energy has to have an outlet. Electricity ain't shit without the doggone plug, this outlet here to plug it in, and the doggone TV to operate it, the light bulb and all that. So we are what is called the agents, or the agents of the manifestation of God, and it's only going to go through us. But the first thing we got to realize is we got to get out of this bullshit that whatever we do in a physical behavior is going to affect us as far as somebody going to chastise us. If you register in your mind that you're going to get chastised for doing something, then your spirit is going to chastise you because you call on your spirit to chastise you. Not know how you sit, all acts like that. If you say, well, I don't give a damn about it, it doesn't work. It's the same thing even with the health thing. You got some people out there on the street right now that outlive 100,000 damn vegetarians, and they've been out there on the street for years. But they don't care about anything as far as that's not their concern. But when you call attention to something, you manifest that type of thing. So we need to just focus the energy on the right thing. So let's go into a little bit of libations. You know the drill. We do the Ashe. And as I say, the libations is only enhancing your energy. See, this is a direct science now. It's not the gods out there that we are appeasing. Those gods, those energies, where did your grandparents go? They go and they live inside of you. Each person has their own universe within them. And when the energy leaves the body, the energy becomes a part of the person or the vessel that it wants to come a part of. So they are inside of you. That's where your parents and all, they are inside of you. You see, it's one realm and one covenant. And your universe is all the universe that there is. If you're not clear on that, we will explain that when we get into the lecture and into the question and answer. So when you do these libations, you're only pouring libations to enhance the gods that's in you. They're called elementals. Well, the elementals is 4 elements: earth, water, fire, air. The 5th one is you. And the earth, water, fire, and air all contained in you. So all of the elements that there is inside of your particular universe. It's just like every time I go, like this morning I got up and I saw it was cloudy outside. So I called all of them up. I say, look here, y'all motherfuckers know that if it rains, black people ain't gonna come out. So what the fuck are y'all doing? What the fuck is up with y'all? And the shit stopped raining. It stopped raining. Everywhere I go, see, I got up this morning. I should have got up early and said, oh yeah, I don't want to hear that goddamn shit. Don't rain. You know niggas ain't gonna come out if it don't rain. But I forgot and it started raining. I said, wait a minute, what the hell is up with you all? You know doggone well, your energy is the same doggone energy that's gonna be in this place tonight. So why would you want to stop the energy or the agents that's working for you to help free your behind? You see? And it stopped raining. And I've been controlling the weather, but you can do it yourself. You can control the weather, but the thing about it is you got to believe, and you can't be pussyfooting around saying, oh, please, can you stop this? No. In the science, Horus or Heru or the Christ, when he's a child, the elementals or the forces or the netters are his protectors and his guides. So when he's a child, they look over him, and he has to answer to them because he's not an adult enough to understand the workings of the universe. Once he becomes the Kim Heru or the adult Heru or the Heru of 30 years old, they become his servants. So it's not a disrespect, it's a chain of command. You understand what I'm saying? It's a protocol. They become his servants. So all the universe that you think, you are still praying to them when you're supposed to be directing them and demanding them. So it was interesting because in 95, it's interesting. In 1995, I went through an ordeal where all kind of stuff was happening. Damn, got kicked out the house. Damn, phone got cut off. Well, that's every 2 years. That's going on now. Car broke down and all this. And then so a leg bar, when everybody, how many people in the Yoruba thing? How many people have experienced the Yoruba thing? Yoruba religion, you know. Ooh, you better not say nothing bad about a leg bar and all this stuff. Leg bar came to me and said, look, we ain't not going to fuck with you no more. We ain't got shit to do with you till you realize and all that you are one of us, first of all. No different than your boys you hanging out with. It's the same energy. And number one, you have gone to the rank of general because you are now the one that is supposed to direct us. You see what I'm saying? So basically, and how do you talk to your boys? You don't talk to your boys, oh, so-and-so, one of your boys you're hanging out with, oh, so-and-so, can you do this to me? You be like, look, motherfucker, what's up with you? Where's my shit? You know, that's the way you talk. So you can't talk to the spirits and no this style sign and all that bull. You got to say, hey, what's up? You know what I'm saying? You know, what the hell is up? And so when I started talking to the spirit realm that way, just like niggas, I said, what's up with y'all niggas? And the spirit realm said, okay, now we can work. We all the same crew hanging out. You see what I'm saying? You got to get to that talk doggone level. You got to get out of this Judeo-Christian mentality of bowing down and praying and all that old bullshit. Now, key is this. The other people can do that. So you don't need to go out here and tear off nobody's head and going through things. One of my teachers, C. Freeman, said, if a person is in the church, that person is supposed to be in the church. And it ain't your doggone business to go and drop nothing on it. You got a lot of people in there searching. So you might drop something on them initially, and if that person rejects it, that means that person is not supposed to get that. But there might be one or two people in there that might go, oh, I've been looking for this. And those people automatically, water always keeps us on level of cream rising to the top. But the other people, you don't have to worry about them. So people in certain doggone organizations, and they got people that follow them, and they say, oh, this man is my master. Those people, if they wasn't in there, they would find some other master to follow. That means that different souls have different needs, and some people need to be a part of some shit. So everything seeks its own level, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, when it comes to you, there's supposed to be a group of people that they talk about in the last days. There's supposed to be a group of people that's supposed to get our people out of this shit. That means that the gods have returned. And we're those particular people, the ones that don't know it yet, but you're supposed to be those particular people. That means they're not supposed to be based on what some niggas on the outside doing. You see what I'm saying? I want to say one thing while it's fresh on my mind, because this is the bullshit that the government is doing. It's happening in Trenton, New Jersey. It was up in Trenton. Brother had they opened up a place called a university. Immediately after they opened up, a year later, all these youth start getting killed, shot in the head. So immediately people from Trenton started running to the university, and the university got into all this real political things, fighting the city officials and all this about all these black people getting killed. And immediately I said, I guarantee you that the time when these deaths occurred was the same time when you all started getting powerful. And I said, the government automatically knows that they can all, because they already said in Quantico, Virginia, in behavioral science, that you are an emotional people, not an intellectual people, or analytical people, or emotional people. So they already know that they can come up in this baby and do something to you and get you off your game. I said, look, you are the priesthood. There's got to be a time when you got to make a break from the bullshit out in the community to help the community. I said, so you got to let them motherfucking niggas cut them loose. Bible says, don't cast pearls to swine. I say, because them niggas is running up in here now and they don't give a damn about nothing conscious or Afrocentric till their ass get in trouble. Then they got to go look for some black constituency to help them fight some old doggone local cause. You see what I'm saying? And you all going running because it's the ego thing, and the government automatically knows that they can keep you fighting. I say, so if you notice, you don't hear shit about them little Bobber-Witcher Jews up in New York. You see them little funny people walking around with them black suits on and all that kind of thing, but you don't know shit they do. And when you see major things go in New York and all, you don't never see them. There's got to be a certain priesthood that don't get into the bullshit. I say there's enough black activists out here. Let Reverend Buffon and Al Sharpton and all them come and handle that stuff. But there's got to be a group of people that tend to business, because that's what the government is going to do to get you off your game. Every nigga gets drugged down the street behind some car. They want the so-called black community to go running. And I say what it is that's a government plan now. Every time they want to get you from the spiritual shit to break your spiritual energy, they're going to juke some nigga up their ass. Right. And they automatically know that you're going to come running. And it breaks the whole system. There got to be some people that's an army that's on game. Now you got enough people out here that's going to do that. Let the rest of the country, 30, 40 million or 20 million what's left, do that. But it's got to be a group of people that stay focused on some stuff. And you don't need to fall for the bullshit, because they're not looking for the activists. They're looking for those spiritual elements, because they don't fear nothing but the spirit realm. They don't fear no niggas in no damn black suits talking about no Black Panthers. That's yesteryear. And Black Panthers and all that made an effect for psychological change for people in the 60s, because we needed that. We needed a person to stand up and show some doggone backbone after years of being shut out. But then again, on the other hand, we don't necessarily need that now, because it's old news. You can't, come on, get the hell out of here. This damn government here. These niggas can like I say, anytime they can drop a bomb in the house and kill everybody in the house and leave the house standing and move right in the next day. We're talking about another level. They don't fear nothing but the spiritual level. That's it. So the key is you got to have a certain amount of people as priests and get into their own thing, and you can't be subject to all the shit out here in the black community. Because now a lot of that stuff that's going on is not because of black people creating it, it's because of the government creating it. And until you learn that, you understand what I'm saying? You'll never have something new for your ass every month. So I told the brothers up there, look, y'all need to cut the shit out. Keep doing what you're doing, keep educating, keep that shit. But all them niggas out in the neighborhood knocking on your door talking about this is the black place to be, you say, fuck y'all. You gotta start doing that. Because it's not mean spirited. You understand where I come from? It's not a matter of being mean spirited, it's a matter of being advanced so you can eventually help everybody. You understand what I'm saying? Until you build a force, you can't let the man come in and keep tearing down the house and you ain't got the damn foundation built yet. You understand where I'm coming from? So a lot of that type of stuff, now the government uses that and he feeds that system. So he'll juggle, man, hey, come on now, let's think about this for a minute. Here go a man go to jail. Now they got a policy, anybody goes to jail, the government can kill you and you can't say shit about it. They can say he grabbed the gun out somebody's holster and we had to shoot him. And there ain't nothing you can do. So for the mere fact that they let the Lou Weaver man out on the street, let you know it was a setup from the get-go. Everything is a setup now. They don't broadcast real shit no more. Kenya, Monica Lewinsky, everything now is, you living in an age where everything is a soap opera. They sit down and they plan this shit years in advance. They put on a nigga ass. Including certain niggas that get caught up and get their ass beat and stuff, you black activists and all that kind of thing, that's all a part of the game. You gotta understand. This was a worldwide conspiracy. They don't deal on no petty stuff. Everything is set out, it's thought out. You get one coming from here, you gotta be smarter than that. You see, you gotta be smarter than this whole thing. The man that got drugged down the street in Texas, that's all a setup. You understand what I'm saying? That's all a doggone setup. Everything in this country is planned out. You see, so therefore, you gotta get above the physical behavior, because you'll be doing this for years, and they already know it. And they pimping everybody. You see what I'm saying? They pimping dog on everybody, including them damn marches. All the fucking marches that you just went through is government. Set up by the damn government. Bottom line. That's all that was, to count, you stand up and be counted. They needed to count people, because the 1990 census was no good. So in order to get a count, they couldn't track black men between the ages of 18 and doggone 27, they couldn't count them. So they had to call them to D.C. and register everybody to stand up to be counted. Same thing with the woman and the doggone youth. It's the counting shit so that they can find out who's what and what kind of mind. They don't want to know dumbass people. They want to register the conscious people because they know you're going to be there. Want to get on TV. So therefore they get a list of all the damn niggas and stuff. Because they're cloning. And so they can make duplicates. And send you back out there. One day you were conscious, brother. The next day you selling some fucking barbecue sauce. Fucking ribs and all kinds of stuff. On Cover Girl commercials. Easy to cover girl. This is Bob Marley's son. Dancing shit for the president. All that stuff is set up to stand up to be counted. So let's go to libation and get you some science. All right. Ashe. You know the video of Ashe, and you need to do them live. Ashe. Let's see. see, special shout out to Hera. We'll get into Prometheus. All of your Titans, Truskians, Syria, Troy. Let's see, well, Hemmitt family, Shaw family, Davis family, all my family members. 1, 2, 3, start calling out your family members. I shake, 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 I shake. To all guys known and unknown, I shake. To all ancestors known and unknown, I shake. All right. Yeah, so, is River Rudolph dead? Yeah. Okay, and we'll she was from here, right? Yeah. So we'll dedicate the lecture to her for the energy. You see what I'm saying? To empower the whole thing. Also, I want you to go and get you some for some real spiritual music. Go and get you some Duke Ellington. Go and get you some Duke Ellington. Go get the Duke Ellington Great Paris Concert, 1963, as well as any early Duke Ellington. As well as some Ella Fitzgerald. There's a great Ella Fitzgerald CD out now that is it's the 75th anniversary, a white box. You get like 60 songs and the whole thing for like $31. Some Sarah Vaughan and some people like this, some Count Basie with the Benny Moulton Orchestra. This particular energy that came about somewhere in the late 20s and the 30s is spiritual Vodun energy. And what this will do, it will actually, when you play this particular stuff in your house, it literally will come in and it will literally clean out your house. And as a matter of fact, I can understand the density of when I stopped playing Duke for a couple of weeks when I moved into a new place, and I stopped playing the Duke and the Ella and all of that, and I can understand and I can feel the energy getting a little bit of dense. A couple of weeks after that, and immediately when I put it back on, I could feel the energy in the house. What happens is when you play anyone that passed on, when you play someone that passed on, their energy is a greater force. You've heard of people throwing their whole body around the universe. You've heard of this. They talk about these particular things in a lot of yogic practices. Anyway, what happens is it's a greater force once they leave the body. The force is phenomenal, but the only thing that keeps the force trapped is the physical body. So once it leaves the body, it's a greater force that you can actually use. And you want to use those particular people because those particular people, so you have what is called your pioneers. So you get you some Scott Joplin or some shit like that from ragtime. Anytime you get some pioneers, which is people who were the bridge makers that would make a certain record, a certain type of new vogue of music that would later on, other music would be made off of. So you want to go get your thorough shit. You know what I'm saying? So for your funk thing, you want to get some P-Funk and all that type of stuff. But I'm talking about, the greater thing is when a person passes on, they become an avatar. And it becomes a higher energy. So since Duke Ellington was a genius who learned how to compose music, which is writing music, play the piano and all that in a couple of weeks, that means that the Spirit gave him this. You see, these are the type of people. If you listen to Ella Fitzgerald, any motherfucker can break damn glass with her mouth. You want to be dealing with, especially if she can break glass with her voice. Even the physical body. What do you think about it when she leaves the physical body? That's the force that you want to deal with at this particular time. Off of Vodun energy, which is spiritual energy. So you want to go and get you some Duke, some Ella, some Sarah Vaughan, some Count Basie, and then then you have the 1950s music, which is your whole Dizzy and all of that, and Miles and the whole and Coltrane and all that. But and you're all aware of that. Most people, when you go to most jazz concerts, they mostly play the stuff from the 1950 era, but they have forgotten that the original inception music was from the 1930s, from the Cotton Club and all that when it comes to Duke Ellington. So I'm really banking on the deal. You need to get you some Duke and start playing it. Now, any young person can deal with this because that music, all it is programming your mind. That's all it is. So we are producing some of the worst music we've ever produced in history at this particular time. Not just the rap. We're just talking about just the stuff that is being played. It's nothing. You know what I'm saying? There's no highs in it. We were talking about this yesterday. There's no highs. If you notice, all the groups, Maxwell and everybody, including Erykah Badu, the stuff is a low tone. It's no highs. The highs, see, a bass line, but if you take the highs from it, you see what I'm saying? You remember we used to say, the white people used to deal only with the highs, they didn't deal with the bass line. You see what I'm saying? But the brothers had both bass line, plus they had horns. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, you need to program the melody. The only thing you need to do is go back and get some of this. And I don't care. You can be 15 years old. If you play that tune over and over, it will get in your brain. And you know how it's something. You know how the last song you hear in the morning when you go out, you can't get that shit out your head. You try and take about 6 o'clock that afternoon before the shit finally leaves. And sometimes it just be all through the night until you play a new song. So we talking about that kind of energy. You need to surround yourself with that kind of energy. That's why fundamental religion, any kind of religion is bad. All of it. Anytime you play the one particular entity and don't have multiple deities, they ain't telling you this shit. All eyes only God. That's some bullshit. Your God is, if you listen, this is the key. Your mind, the melanin mind, is multi-dimensional. You can see that in the dance. You know what I'm saying? White boy, he can learn your dance, but he learned the one where he can do 1 or 2 steps, or he can do some things, and he got it down to mathematical form, and he can do it. But when we talk about, when you do some shit, and you see a motherfucker move, body is moving, go see the Soul Train line. You see a motherfucker flip up under his ass and come back up and break in his spine. That's melody, that's chaos. I know I used to do this. I used to be a dancer and stuff back in the day. And I know it was based on a certain thing that hit you, and nobody ever taught me how to dance. Nobody. I just heard the music and started grooving. And used to go all across the state of South and North Carolina whipping people's ass. Dance. But I had it down to a science. Me and a brother named Boyne. This brother, man, he was a real dark-skinned brother, and this brother could break his spine in. And I said, and when we meet some brothers that's real bad and I needed some help, I said, I gotta call in Boyne. And Boyne would come and break his back in. Now, this shit was something else. But we're talking about, that's the spiritual realm now. Dealing with that spiritual realm, if you got one type of deity for that, you can't tap into those ultimate dimensions in your complexity of your soul or your subconscious. You have to have a multi-deity system, which is all the one, is the multi-deity system to register with different multiple levels of the melanin. That's why you saw all the letters on the wall in Egypt. That's why you didn't see any civilization, ancient civilization, that didn't have 100 different aspects of God, including the Hebrew. The Hebrew just later on separated the Hebrew. Well, actually, the Hebrews didn't do it. The Christian shit separated the doggone angels and made them angels instead of different aspects of the same God. So the different letters became archangels. You see what I'm saying? But my point is, even the Hebrews talk about different names of God. The Arabs talk about 99 attributes. You see what I'm saying? But my point is the multi-deity system, that's the only way you can line up the complexity of your advanced chaos body, or your advanced chaos being. So the whole thing of bowing down to one person and one monotheistic type bullshit, that's the bull. That don't go with you. You see what I'm saying? That's slavery. So we must, and so your religion and your thoughts should be just like the music. But then again, on the other hand, this stuff that they're producing now is all based on the record companies and the government. It's all bad music, all of it. It's all bad music. I don't care how good it is. Somebody might buy it and you might like it because you hear something over and over. You train yourself to like it. But I don't care how good it is. It can't hold jack shit to something 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. You know what I'm saying? It's no comparison. And it doesn't have anything to do with you being young and old. It ain't got nothing to do with that. It has something to do with this bad music. It just changed. They had good stuff in the 1980s. So some of this stuff just changed the last 7 years. You see what I'm saying? It's just that you thinking it's good now because that's all you hear. Especially a person like you that don't hear nothing else. That he actually thinks, you know what I'm saying? It's just like this. Can you imagine a person that only heard rap all their life? Can you understand the insanity of that? That's one thing you can say, but you know, like you say, I can remember some Al Green. I can remember some Barry White. You see? But what about a person that only heard rap? You understand what kind of monster that? pills, pathology on the highest level. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to cut their head off. Because the brain is all messed up. It's a trip. Let's go on. Number one, we need to deal with this because what's happening here is around the world, they're only showing one type of black figure. You would think that there's only one black leader in the world, and that's Martin Luther King. And we know that this Martin Luther King was a government agent. He was a government agent of both the joint efforts of the British intelligence and the CIA. We know this because the history of Gandhi was a government agent. What happened was these Indians over there were getting ready to get their country back. And they said, wait a minute, these Muslims, they got all kind of Kundalini stuff and all kind of spiritual stuff, and we let these people get, we let them get the right leader, they can have us, they can kill everybody in Europe. So they said, you know, India was ruling, England was ruling India. So they say, look, why don't we get an Indian person and put what we want in his head, and he basically can be the person that can get us out of India safely. And won't be no repercussions. So they did this whole nonviolent thing with Gandhi, and Gandhi was a government agent for British intelligence. So in the 1950s, it was after Adam Clayton Powell and this black man down in Mississippi. You know, he was the first, you know, Adam Clayton Powell was one of your first civil rights leaders. And this black man down in Mississippi, plus they had to counter the whole Ahmad Muhammad thing, Noble Drew Ali and all these people. So they said, look, the British intelligence and the secret society say, look, we were successful in doggone India with Gandhi. So therefore, they came and picked Martin Luther King and taught him all the Gandhi stuff. He said this shit was based on Gandhi. Right. You see what I'm saying? He was a government agent as a counter-revolutionary for the other stuff that was going in because they had foresaw the 60s. They saw it in the 50s. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, he was a counter-revolutionary, and it was a black woman who was a spiritual seer, who could see into the future, and she knew that this man was a counter-revolutionary, and that's why she came to the meeting and stabbed his ass. You see? And this is the energy that they're giving you right now is this whole Martin Luther King bullshit. And they're deifying him, and I should have showed, like I got on some videos. Did you have one of the videos when I showed the paper where they got Martin Luther King with the crown of Jesus on his head? Yeah. So they're deifying him because even they taught him in ITC over there that Martin Luther King is the Messiah for white people. And you should see the King Center now. You would think it's Disneyland. You get on the number 3 bus and just go down to the King Center or go down Auburn Avenue and look. When you get to that King Center, it's all white. You see, this is very key that you understand this. Now, let me show you something. You got Martin Luther King streets in every city, right? They are patterned off the Martin Luther King Street in Atlanta, which is the main one. Now, we know that this thing is all Masonically coded. Guess where Martin Luther King Street is in Atlanta and where it starts from? It's just like Chris Rock said, his crazy self, but he made a good observation that everywhere you go in Martin Luther King Street, there's a whole lot of violence and a whole lot of death and a whole lot of crazy stuff going on. Degeneration. Well, it's an energy that's going on with these energy fields, and you must understand this. Guess where Martin Luther King Street starts in Atlanta? It starts in the Confederate graveyard. All you gotta do is go to Atlanta. You see Martin Luther King Drive. There's a part where it leads towards the colleges. You go the opposite way downtown and keep Martin Luther King Drive and don't get off it. And sooner or later, you will end up in the Confederate graveyard where Margaret Mitchell is also buried, who wrote Gone with the Wind, that bullshit, calling motherfuckers Pope and all kind of stuff, and big fat Hattie McDaniel stuff, and this whole energy that they put on black people in Hollywood for years, and they tried to put with Oprah, and Oprah lost weight, and white people lost their mind. So they had to get a new woman, so they got Star Jones, you know, to sit in all these sit with all these other white women, and this new woman they got, she's talking about forgive and forget. That Aunt Jemima type energy. But anyway, the Martin Luther King, the Martin Luther King street starts in the Confederate graveyard, and then they name all the other ones. There's some real deal stuff going on. You got to be on top of the game of what's actually going on. Now, I mentioned yesterday, and I wanted to go back into this, that they stick these needles in pregnant women in their spine. They call it an epidural or whatever this thing is. And let me tell you what they actually do. This is some scary stuff. That's why you got to, like I told you with any stuff that's going on in the hospital, the stuff that you're going to have to go get is Michael Palmer's books, all 7 volumes, but you're going to find those books not in regular doctor's places or not in the regular science places. They're going to be in the science fiction section. And that's the key now. That's the way they put things to make sure that they can keep a certain amount of Negroes out of a large part of the population. Because you ain't going to bear witness until the man say, well, the doctor come up and tell you. So all the stuff that's going on in the hospitals, you will find it in Michael Palmer's books in the science fiction section. He's the one that wrote Extreme Measures, and they made the movie out of that book. So anyway, what they do with this particular part now. Now, for some people, it doesn't happen with all black people, because some black people have a higher energy, and they can override certain things that the white man tries to do. But what this thing does, for most very poor black people and people that they want to get rid of on population control, they do one thing. They stick that spine up in there, and they stick that needle up in there, and what they do is they will extract the DNA from the fetus, or from the baby. Then they will literally clone a baby from that DNA and put it back in the body, an egg. Then kill the original host, and you will have a baby, and it will have everything, but it just don't have a soul. It'll be like white people. So 10 years later, when the shit grows up and you don't understand why you got a monster running around in your house, you don't understand that the government killed the original one and made another one. This is some real serious stuff. What the key about this kind of stuff here is, this type of stuff is, we're not really interested in whether you believe it or not. It's just a matter of a certain amount of things that have to get out here. You see what I'm saying? And it's not trying to prove nothing or whatever. We got enough information and enough bibliography to document things. Even the Bible says, blessed to those who read. There's a good book on cloning. There's one you're going to get in the science fiction section. It's a white book that's got blue letters, they clone. And it's different authors. It came out in March. You want to go to science fiction, it's a little $5 book. And read up on all the stuff that's in there, because science fiction is now science fact. Now then there's some, here's one that's coming, we got it from the library right here, which is a new book, came out in '98. A woman by the name of Gina Kolata, K-O-L-A-T-A, Kolata, K-O-L-A-T-A, Gina Kolata, and the name of it is called Clone, The Road to Dolly, and the Path Ahead. But it's Gina Kolata, Clone, The Road to Dolly, and the Path Ahead. So that's one. So we give you documentation, but a lot of things that I've been saying over the last year, she got some of the stuff about Hitler, first inventing this stuff for Star Wars. It's all on one page up in the book. So those are just documents. We document that type of thing. But they literally will kill one baby and put another one back in. This is a form of genocide. So why do you say, well, why didn't you have it going anyway? Well, the whole thing is a smoke screen. Well, when you're saying it, what's the difference? Because what's happening here is they understand it. They said that by 1990, basically, the Kundalini energy that was rising in black people somewhere in the mid-'80s would peak by 1990, and if they didn't take a certain amount of people off the planet, they wouldn't be able to live on it. It's like natural selection, where the stronger dominant species kills off the other one just by energy alone. The animal kingdom does it. Whereas in the animal kingdom, any mutant animal in the animal kingdom, the other animals kill it. You see what I'm saying? Or they use it for bait to catch other animals, or they either use it for bait where they can kill this one so they can get away. So this is some various stuff that's actually stuff going on. Another thing that's going on is the funeral homes. The white people are buying up funeral homes all over the country. Now what they're doing is this. They're buying up funeral homes all over the country because the most precious thing in the universe now is melanin. He who controls the spice controls the universe. That's the movie Dune. The movie Dune is by what? Melange. Space travel is vital for it. Aging is vital for it with it. Moving without, traveling without moving is vital with it. This is called melange, the most precious substance. Go read the movie Doom. He who controls the spice, which is melange, and the elixir, melanin, controls the universe. So therefore, they understand based on memory base that there's a lot of black people that were born at the turn of the century, that was alive in the 1930s, 1920s, and the 1900s, that's dying now. Some of your older stock. Plus you got brothers in the 60s and in the 50s that's keeling over. So therefore, the government say we can't let that kind of melanin go to the grave. We can use that. We can use the memory bank, and we can use this particular source. This is some advanced stuff. So therefore, they're buying these funeral homes, and they might have black face, but they will come in and they will get the vital organs out, mainly the whole gate of Zion. The Zion gate that I told you, the gates of Zion is the pineal, pituitary gland, hypothalamus gland. They get all that out. And they can reproduce the memory and all this type of stuff. Go see the movie Dark City. How many people saw the movie Dark City? One of the greatest movies that came out. And they show how they took the memories and they can build memory based on shooting stuff in the third eye. This is what's going on. So therefore, they don't have to. What's that, brother?
I was going to ask you, but then, when they shot it in his head, why did he, how come he didn't get affected? What made him so special that he couldn't get affected?
Well, see, what happens is this. It's simple. You have the original black stock that's been here since the beginning of time. Then you have a seed that they sent in from the outside to be here that has got a little more energy in it. That is a protective seed that will spark and you ignite the other seeds. I'm going to get into that deeper in a few minutes. So anyway, he was one of those ones that was one of the chosen ones for that particular thing where they say every now and then one of us wakes up. They say, well, everybody's asleep. Every now and then one of us wakes up. Well, guess what? Congratulations. You the motherfuckers that woke up. Go into they had two men in the movie that woke up. They say every now and then one of us wakes up. Well, based on the conscious community is 0 point something, congratulations, you're one of those people to wake up. For whom much is given, much is required. It's not talking about physical things, but a mere fact that you can comprehend this thing and say, this nigga here is scaring me. And the mere fact that you come here and you want more and more knowledge, that means that your soul is very advanced. So that means you need to start living your life as a very special person. It's not a matter of arrogance. You should expect you should expect greater things to happen, and you should look at yourself as a very elite individual. Because we give this test on all through the country I go. I ask the people, conscious people, this question. When you was a little child, did you always think you were different than everybody else? Raise your hand. There you go. And I get that same response. So therefore, you need to start looking at yourself as unique individuals. But with unique individuals, it's not for you to doggone look elite towards the people. It's for you to understand the people more and understand that much is given, much is required, and become a servant. That also means that no matter how much an asshole black people are, you need to humble yourself to them.
That's right.
Because why? Because you are acting as an adult to children. You don't get mad if a child does some things. You try to understand when he's only a child. And black people are only pathological grown-up children at large. Permanent children. That's what they turn us in. That's what black people are. Permanent children. So therefore, because you have a form of knowledge that's greater, a form of, for the mere fact that you are aware of things at this time, you're supposed to be their protectors. Sometimes you got to kick them in the ass and put them on their way because you know it don't mean no good. Just leave them alone. But my point is, it's not for you to be arrogant. And what I mean by that, as soon as they get conscious, every time so you go home and your people don't know nothing, every time somebody says something the wrong way, you ready to jump in their face because you know a little bit about it. You jump down their face. Then they start hating you. Say, I hate that old nigga there. And so you done lost that person. You see what I'm saying? No grown person, that's a child, likes to be taught anything. So you must understand them and try to have a greater understanding of the people. You understand what I'm saying? But then again, on the other hand, you're supposed to hate ignorance also. That's therapeutic for your own ass. That means that you don't supposed to be around ignorance. You understand them when they come in your path, but you need to fuck all these motherfuckers that don't mean you no good as far as not your harm. But I'm talking about just good people that come over and they don't want to hear this shit. There's an energy feeling. You got good people that say, well, he's good, no, he's good. And I understand that there's a certain time you got to spend with your people. I understand that. We're not talking about being fanatics where you shut yourself off from the rest of the world. It's a balance thing. Two extremes is just as bad as the other one. They're both extremes. We're talking about an understanding, but there comes a time whereas you got to look at it the way it is. If sometimes they invade your space by being ignorant. You see what I'm saying? So it's a double-edged sword. You got to balance this whole thing out. So now, going on. Something I was going to say here. Yeah, I want to deal with a couple of things right now. So what this white boy is actually doing is they have actually gone in and because they got this cloning thing down, they have gone in and tapped it and taken the DNA from the mummies and brought back some of these pharaohs and brought back some of these people. But what happened was what they didn't realize was that the pharaohs only have a limited amount of knowledge. They were royal subjects. The priests never mummified themselves damn near. See what I'm saying? So if they didn't bring back a priest, they really didn't bring back nothing but an honorary god. There wasn't a priest to notice. So they couldn't get but a limited amount of knowledge from those particular people. You see what I'm saying? So Ramesses and all of them, they can do this. And don't say, well, that's some crazy stuff, because even right in your Bible, if you believe in the Bible a little bit, you come from ancient fragments, so there's a lot of truth in the Bible. We know that. Because we can go back into the Bible and find certain things. It's just a matter of how you look at it and what kind of conscience you is to find, you know to find. But in the Bible it says in the last days the knowledge will increase. You see what I'm saying? So don't think that the cracker don't do it. So what happened was, they say they know that they are different length from us. They know you might think that they evolved from you up in some ice age and that bullshit. Diop knew better. And Diop was going to reveal that. And that's why they took Diop out. You didn't know that. They killed Diop on the plane going back to Senegal after he visited, was it Senegal? Where was he? Dakar. What was he? Senegal. Going back to Senegal. They poisoned that Diop on the plane. When the plane touched down, his wife came to the airport. They called her in. They say, look, this is the deal. Homeboy dead. Now, if you don't want the same shit to happen to you, you go back. And we're going to announce in about a month or so that he's dead. And by the way, we want all that motherfucking papers. If you give up the papers, your ass dead too. And that white hoe say, okay, here, all your papers to the French government. And she gave all the shit up. They killed Diop on the plane, and then they announced to their, now this is going too far. Because you can go to any kind of Negroes you can go to the Caribbean, you can go to Africa, and you can do things. But when you start going to the people in the United States, the black people over here, then you got problems. So you remember they tried to kill him before with the airplane thing a year before. But they snook him out. Then they learned that Diop was in town. And remember, go get great African thinkers. Remember, Andrew Young gave him the Diop Day, and what, key to the city or something? Or gave him National Diop Day? But Andrew Young is what? Trilateral Commission. His motherfucking commission. Then they took this fool. Where did he go to? He went to the damn King Center. You know Kings is some great old government clone niggas. The King family. This is the same King family where they went to the same King family in 1968. And they opened up that package and they showed King fucking some white women. They said, now you goddamn don't. If you press charge, they told him, if you call for a jury trial, remember it was never a jury trial. Yeah. They said, if you call for a jury trial, we're going to put these shits in the paper of King screwing these women. They're going to break the whole movement. Them niggas say, okay, cool. That's why to this day, them niggas is cool with white folks. You think if I fought with King son, you know how much power that would be? Man, you couldn't tell me shit. Man, you talking about a revolutionary force. I might have a harem. My point dumb niggas in the town didn't know who he was. They took the nigga to the King Center and the King Chapel and that Morehouse and all that stuff. And they took him right and showed where the government was. So he evaded the government to come and dwell with the government. And so when they came back, they killed that nigga. And how I know? Because when my mates went to, when we both went to the mounds, went to an Indian reservation, went to the mounds in Tennessee, they turned my mate on my sister, they turned her on psychically. And boy, all kind of stuff was coming in for the first couple of months. And so when we got back home, this girl, 22, she didn't know nothing about it. And she had it down to the T and explained all the stuff. But then again, we knew that he had some other things based on some hominid stuff that he was dealing with. He was getting ready to reveal this shit in some of his future works. Now, the key is, there's a link between the European and the black man. Somewhere in this incubation process of the creation, which we have several documents. It was so much on that till I had to stop. I got so much documents in history on this creation story until I had to stop doggone putting it out. It was so much. The last one was from Australia that we got in the package here. But anyway, they understood that there was a link between the ancient black man and the European. They understood that this was a composite of both human DNA, animal DNA, some pig, some ape, and all that. They knew this. And they understood that when the first grafting came out, it didn't look like the European you see today. Go get the Island of Dr. Moreau. I mean, do something Island of Dr. Moreau. The Island of Dr. Moreau was a movie, was H.G. Wells' movie. H.G. Wells was a contemporary of Rudolf Steiner. Rudolf Steiner was one of the head of the Rosicrucians in Germany. And they was custodians of stuff that was left behind by the Moors. So the Rosicrucians somewhat got a lot of the documents based on this Yakub thing. The Moors, the Rosicrucian got it. Because the Moors left a lot of this stuff behind at the University of Salamanca and all that stuff. So, Rudolf Steiner wrote it in his book Atlantis and Lemuria about the creation story of this minute selected a germ and created a new race of men. It's the only book you can't get. You got to go to Health Research and get that one. All the rest of the books you can buy, but you can't get the one Atlantis and Lemuria. But anyway, H.G. Wells was the best friend of him and one of his large brothers. So H.G. Wells would take his particular stuff and write Time Machine and write the metaphysical thing he had into fiction. So Rudolf Steiner wrote Manu, which is supposed to be an Atlantean story of a creation of the European, off of Sanskrit and other Arabic manuscripts. He wrote Manu, and H.G. Wells wrote Dr. Moreau in the fiction piece. You see what I'm saying? So whatever it was, the creation was not the original European you see now. It was something. There was something that they created first that was somewhat. It was somewhat a medium between the ancient black man and whatever this thing they created, a homunculus of this particular part. But it was much more advanced than the European you see today. He had to evolve his intellect over years after going into barbarism. This particular thing was much more advanced than what they call a Sasquatch. The Bigfoot thing, the shit is real. You got, oh yeah. If it ain't real, what shit is doing on Discovery Channel? Okay, yeah, right. It ain't real, right? They had that shit on Discovery Channel. And what happened was, back in 1992, two drunk white boys with a couple of six-packs and a regular 8mm camera. So they got drunk. They said, we going out and catch us a Sasquatch. And they went out there and they photographed the Sasquatch, two drunk crackers. And so the government said, now wait a minute. If these two white boys can go out there and photograph a Sasquatch drunk, we got all this satellite technology and all this great technology, find Sasquatch, Bigfoot. Because they wanted to somehow genetically study that so they can alter to go to this slide thing, because ain't nothing on this realm can slide now unless it's got melanin or that cosmic seed. It's over. So therefore, they found one too, and they studied it. And they realized to no avail that it ain't happening. This is real deal Jimmy that's going on. It ain't happening. So, going back to this funeral home thing before we go into some other things right quick, because we got to go into some high science, is that they need a certain amount of DNA. And so they're getting it from the funeral homes and different places like this, hospitals. But then again, you know what? They can basically do what they want to do to black people, because you know what I'm saying? If we point something of conscious people, you understand what I'm saying? If we point something, that means, you know, they basically got the whole race to do what the hell they want to. That ain't including all the dumb behind Negroes from Africa, because Africa is 98% no knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And all the niggas in the Caribbean, they come over and want to be white, look down on you, say all this kind of stuff here, because they come over and the only thing they want to do is work and have 5 or 6 jobs, and all this particular stuff. The whole black diaspora is insane. The only one that is getting this type of stuff, no matter how much you might think you're inferior to all your other brothers, so they might look down on you, you the shit. That's the bottom line. You're the only one that can comprehend this. So, this is some things they're actually doing. So now I want to go right now, I want to go into some other things. Number one, you're going to get the Truman Show. I don't know